Do we have free will? Is there such a thing as free will, freedom of choice? For some of us, I feel there is not. For many others, there very well can be, but it does come with some work. There are many different layers and levels to this topic that I'm hoping to shed some light on. I also have a few areas I'm going to look into, including free will, determinism, and the cosmic order. I'm also going to look at the 4 different layers or levels to free will, starting at base level and moving up all the way into co-creation with the universe. First of all, let's look at free will. Free will is the ability for individuals to make choices and decisions independently, without being constrained by external factors or predetermined outcomes. I have contemplated this topic for a long time through my own practice and through my own experiences. I have left myself in moments of questioning and reflecting on, do we even have free will? What separates some people from others? What separates some people who are creating a great level of success and havingness versus those who have not or are not or might never? What determines our outcomes? Do we have free will in the sense of the relationship with the cosmic order, with the cosmic design? Is there such a thing as determinism? I feel that many of us will experience a variation of different aspects or different opportunities to exercise free will. I'm going to also go into the 4 pillars or 4 levels that I have contemplated on, that I have outlined here to make sense of the different aspects or the different variations of free will that we may encounter in our lives. And that can also create a bit of a divide in humanity when we're thinking about the topic of free will. What defines those who have free will or some level of free will versus those who don't and may never have the experience to create a life of their own? When looking at one of the main factors that is going to determine if we have free will or not, or any type of level of free will, is going to be the relationship with ourselves. Now, many people may look at society and feel that we all have free will, we all have choice, which is not true. If we are not aware within ourselves, if there is a great separation within ourselves, a lack of self-awareness and a lack of connectedness within ourselves, the inability to observe our behaviors, our patterns, our feelings, our actions, our manifestations as a result, then we will not be able to choose very much in life, if at anything at all. So some people, unfortunately, will be trapped in the prison of their own subconscious patterns, of their false beliefs, of their emotions, without being able to see a way out, without being able to create a relationship with themselves, therefore restricting the ability to cultivate free will and choice in their life. The first level, the first layer that we can look at then is going to be the first, level 1. Where one could be completely removed from their self, from their unconscious self, and be controlled by the false programs and the beliefs buried deep within themselves. These programs are what we all have within ourselves. This is what makes us human. This is also a part of being very malleable and very influenced in our early years. This is part of our unconscious, subconscious programming, which we can't reprogram. Everything is changeable. But again, if one doesn't have the awareness or lacks the awareness and doesn't have the opportunity to look within or gain a new perspective on life, then they will be, unfortunately, highly influenced by their unconscious beliefs, their false patterns, and then be consumed by the removal of themselves, which can lead to excessive addictions, withdrawal, disassociation, and numbing. This can become very extreme, where one can be completely removed from any choice in life, where they can fall into the depths of the influence of their unconscious and the imposed programs within themselves. The second tier, the second level, is going to have a slight opening to make choices and decisions based on what the person decides and desires, but yet still might be trapped in false beliefs of perhaps low self-worth, low confidence, fear, resentment, anger, shame, and any other societal or family pressures that have been ingrained deep within the unconscious. So this is a level where someone has the ability to choose for themselves as far as maybe their education, where they want to go to school, the kind of education or school, or the kind of career path they want to carve out for themselves. Maybe even making a choice of being an entrepreneur and doing something daring and different, or maybe even the relationships that they want in their life, but still are heavily influenced unconsciously by their false patterns, the false beliefs, the unconscious memories and emotions that are embedded that have not been resolved. So they could perhaps embark on a new career path, but then they may be held back in certain ways. They may develop things like imposter syndrome and self-sabotage, for example. They may also hold themselves back in different ways from creating the life that they really desire. So they may feel stuck. They may hit a lot of walls, dead ends, maybe even have relationship patterns that are frequent in their life with certain unhealthy relationship patterns, I should say. They may find themselves stuck in certain loops in their life, or they may find themselves getting to a point in their life where they hit a wall, or again, hit some kind of resistance that happens over and over, and they have a hard time breaking through. This is where they have some choice. They have some choice of the kind of life they want, maybe where they live, the career path, the kind of relationships they want, the kind of lifestyle they want, but still inside something is not quite right, which will limit oneself in many different ways. So as I mentioned, there could be a lot of fear in the unconscious. There could be a lot of false programs and aspects within themselves that they have not looked at or addressed that will still limit their ability for complete sovereignty and free will in their life. The third tier or third level is where one begins the process of individuation, a level of self-development, habit integration, spiritual inquiry, and spiritual exploration. Yet a very severe gap can form in this level 3, where one is beginning to awaken to new levels of consciousness, to maybe question their life differently, to question themselves maybe a little bit differently. This goes also into a video I recorded a while ago on the barriers into the unconscious self, into the shadow. The barrier into the shadow and into the unconscious self is very strong, or can be very strong. And when we venture into this area within ourselves, we can fragment our reality, and it can be quite difficult to grasp when we start to explore our deeper selves and start to become curious about our innermost deeper makings. However, this is a very important process, a very important level, I should say, where we start to really connect with who we are. Through this process, we will begin to align more with our truth by resolving shame, fear, resentment, any patterns that have held us back in the past that have prevented us from having full free choice. Now, I say that lightly because free choice, as I see it, will only get us so far. That is also when the universe steps in to meet us halfway, which I'll get to in just a moment. But in order for us to truly align with who we are, our inner truth, our inner knowing, and make discerning, strong decisions for ourselves, we will need to very much sink into this level 3. This is also where a lot of people may fade off or may divert or go back into level 2, where it's safer. This is not a conscious choice. This is an unconscious choice. And this is what is going to differentiate our conscious choices versus our unconscious choices. Conscious choices are when we are clear and when we are lucid and completely aware of the choices that we are making. The unconscious choices are connected to guilt, are connected to fear, are connected to shame, are connected to resentment, are connected to grief, could be also connected to anger, any impulsive decisions, any decisions that carry some negative weight or some heaviness to it. Those are unconscious decisions. When we are in our truth, in our inner knowing, and in alignment with who we are, we will make decisions and choices based on the connection with our higher self and our inner knowing. And this is where this level will take us. But it does take quite a lot of wrestling, of grappling, and understanding who we are. We do need to go through the shadow layers and through our unconscious false belief patterns in order to get there, in order to fully connect with our inner truth, our inner light, our inner power, discernment, clarity, and knowing. And when we have the connection within our inner truth, we are going to be able to make very strong, sound choices. This is where free will is going to start to really develop. And this is also where the connection with the universe is also going to start to become clear. Tier 4 or level 4 is empowered choice. Self-awareness, synchronicities, surrendering, allowing, receiving, and radical self-acceptance. When we have connected with ourselves fully and wholly, when we accept our whole self, when we have connected with our heart, connected with our emotions, when we feel the connection with our higher self and the connection with all, with the universe, then we will be in a place to connect with free choice and free will, but also understand the relationship with the universe. And this is where the relationship with the universe comes in for co-creation. This is also where we can look at determinism, the philosophical belief that all events, including human actions, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will, suggesting that free will is an illusion. We can reflect on determinism at this point to realize that there is something greater to our life that is unfolding for us. When we are prisoners of our unconscious patterns, of our unconscious beliefs, we may turn to nihilism as a result. We may default into a feeling that we can only get so far and life is choosing for us. However, we do have choice, especially up to a point. We have a choice to empower ourselves or to remain in fear. We have a choice to make choices based on impulse or by taking time to think things through. We have a choice to work on ourselves and to invest in ourselves, or we choose not to. And this is what is going to require a little bit of the level 2 to 3 to really understand. There is also, of course, the law of cause and effect that we need to be aware of. This can work in many different ways, not just the obvious. The choices that we make have some kind of repercussion as the outcome, good or not so good or challenging. So if we end up letting life choose for us, we are not in the driver's seat of our reality. We are at effect. We are letting the unconscious patterns decide for us. We are letting people decide for us. We are letting society impose its beliefs onto us or its ways of being onto us. In this case, if we lack direction and clarity with who we are and what we want to experience in life or where we want to go in our path of life, we are going to let life choose for us in some kind of way. Now, there's, of course, an important part of this where we do need to be open to life experiences and trust that the universe has our best interest at hand and more. However, we are a co-creator in this story called life. We do have a say in what we want to experience to a certain point. This is also where we need to trust and surrender regarding the law of cause and effect. If we are being in the cause of our reality, we are being clear with perhaps the relationships we want in our life or that we don't want in our life. We might be clear with the kind of work environment we want to be in or that we don't want to be in. We will be very clear with the choices that we make in the moment, being very aware of our emotional choices versus our true choices connected with our true self. We'll be very aware of also the repercussions of all the choices that we make. If we make a choice or a decision out of haste or out of a repeating pattern or out of fear, it will have some kind of consequence. If we take our time and think things through and feel into the connection with our intuition, with our heart, with our higher self, then we will definitely feel more aligned with our path forward and the choices and decisions we make. This is also going to lead into cosmic order. So this is the concept that the universe operates according to inherent laws and principles, suggesting a harmonious and purposeful structure that governs the behavior of all things. Now, I have definitely contemplated this because there have been many times where I have felt that there's something bigger unfolding that I can't control. There are many things that I've experienced where I know that I haven't had a choice, but the choices that I have made had led me to a certain point in time where maybe I didn't have a choice necessarily, but the choices that had led me there created that particular scenario, which was for my greatest good and highest potential. This is also where synchronicities come into play. This is where the aha moments come in, or things that need to fall apart, but then we start to see it's happening for our greatest good. Synchronicities happen when we are fully open, when we are aware, when we're connecting with the flow of life, and we have gained a great deal of trust within our heart, within ourself, and of course within our intuition. In this level 4 as well is where we have gained a great deal of self-acceptance. This means that we have returned to our heart. We have returned to wholeness, void of the fears and the shame and the guilt and the restrictions that have been holding us back in the past, or creating unhealthy repeating patterns or toxic relationships, or a lack of safety and trust with our unfoldings. I am pretty certain that there is a cosmic order to the experiences that we will go through, that we will have in our life. There are going to be certain people who will show up in our lives that will teach us the biggest lessons. There are going to be certain people who will show up in our lives that are meant to support us and help us. When you start to see this, you're going to open up to the relationship with the universe. This is where we do have free choice and free will, and we also get to open ourselves up more to receive help, to receive support from the universe. And when we see it and we feel it, we are in divine flow and divine unity with the all, with the universe, with cosmic order. We will then be able to create and manifest from a very powerful place. We will also be able to visualize and tune in with our future, knowing internally what direction to take, what is going to be right for our greatest good, highest potential, the vision of the future that we feel in alignment with. And we will be able to navigate this with more flow and ease, without control and without placing so much heaviness on ourselves for certain outcomes, expectations, and results. When we do that, we're not coming from a place of trust. Yet when we have learned how to surrender and find flow with the universe and co-creation, the universe will work with us as we make conscious choices. It will work in tandem to show us the results that we are aiming for. So I would love to open this up for you. Do you feel that we have free will? Do you feel that there's a cosmic order somehow? Do you feel that there's determinism and this is the fate of our life? I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you think, but also take some time to contemplate on this. Feel it within your journey. Sense it. Open up for more flow and fluidity and trust, and see what happens. The magic is always right in front of us. However, when we are trapped in our fear, when we are operating unconsciously, then we are going to miss the cues and the clues from the universe to make these conscious choices for a better future. So I hope this video found you when you need it the most, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care.